Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Rich Reviews, my latest TV show for you guys here now. And let me personally confess, you'll be getting some more TV shows in the near future. What I want to review now here happens to be Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. Now, a lot has been made about the show before it got made, and currently after when it was airing, how the behind the scenes drama led to the fracturing of the Will Ferrell and McKay partnership. Now, let me personally confess that I never have, nor I ever will be, a fan of the Adam McKay Will Ferrell films. I don't particularly care for the first two Anchorman films. I don't really particularly think that Talladega Nights is all that a funny film. And I also happen to think Step Brothers is one of the worst conceivable films that ever has been made. Also, I don't particularly care for the other guys, even though I think I know where that film is coming from. And when it comes to Adam McKay in general, outside of maybe, The Big Short, and I think Don't Look Up had some amusing moments, I'm not a big fan of Adam McKay's work. But here, I think him in an executive producer role and him directing episode 1 of Winning Time, quite frankly, is a good fit for him. Will Ferrell was supposed to play Jerry Buss. Now let me confess that I am actually glad, because Will Ferrell back doing basketball, well, that reminds me of Semi-Pro, another awful film that Will Ferrell was doing. And I think also originally up for the role of Jerry Buss was Michael Shannon, although he didn't necessarily like all the fourth wall breaking, so he left, and so obviously John C. Reilly was brought in. A lot has been made as of late about how much this shits on everyone in the Lakers organization, particularly Jerry West, who's presented here really unflatteringly. Now, let's quite frankly face it, this is basically a dramatization of things and not an actual documentary. Because let's face it, if this was an actual documentary, and obviously Magic Johnson has his own thing on Apple TV Plus about his own career, then hey look, go seek that thing out. And quite frankly, if Jerry West thinks he'll sue, maybe this will also attract more people to watch this series. Now, first and foremost, also let's just say that Olivia de Havilland tried to sue. That didn't get her very far for feud. Now, let me just state that I actually come to really like this series, because I just had a hoot of a time seeing John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss trying very hard to get the Lakers a championship. They only won one championship, now it's 1972, and then previously the last time they won was back when they were in Minneapolis. And that was when Eisenhower was president. I think this is one of the most amazing casts ever assembled in a TV show in recent years. Also, let me point out aside that the book that this is based on is called Showtime, and when the head of the network was giving an interview, he was like, yeah, we couldn't exactly call it Showtime because, let's face it, or HBO, and people would think, oh yeah, it's awkward to think that we're having a show on this channel called Showtime. Particularly the smart casting of Quincy Isaiah as Magic Johnson, who has that grin of his, that winning smile. Hadley Robson as Jeannie Buss. I don't know what Jeannie Buss is like in real life, but clearly she has that doty-eye look, and quite frankly is aware that her father, has his own foibles. As Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was definitely prickly, and obviously, apparently, what some people have said that, yes, he was like that in real life. Jason Clarke as Jerry West, and we do get a backstory for Jerry West, and then I think, quite frankly, we get Tracy Letts here as Jack McKinney, and obviously there's a title here called Who the F is Jack McKinney? And yes, you come to understand why Jack McKinney is not a household name. And one of the greatest ideas for casting ever, you got Adrian Brody as Pat Riley. It's that really weird mustache, and then obviously the suits, and that will make Pat Riley the star of the 1980s that would go on to, try to get championship for New York and eventually won in Miami. And again, also we got Davon Hughes, old boy, who was in that Terminator film. He's now playing his father. And basically when he told, hey look, I'm playing you, Dad, he said, well, don't make you look like an idiot. And I think we also get some odd little cameo moments of like, oh yeah, here's Mike Epps as Richard Pryor, who at least at one point I think was actually supposed to play Richard Pryor in an actual biopic of him. Here, at least in one little short scene here, is the guy who's playing the 1970s version of Jack Nicholson. Here's Imam in a very short little thing. Oh yeah, here's Paula Abdul. It does a really good job of recreating the basketball tempo for the Lakers. At least I think I heard in an interview at Rick Fox, who was a Lakers person, was like, yeah, I put that boy through the ringer and make him puke all over. There's a mini training camp thing, and trust me, I would think myself, I would drop dead if I was forced to try to understand how to play basketball or on a professional level. Now, obviously, one of the things I found myself thinking all throughout this series is that I thought to myself, this was going to cover the entire 1980s period, because this story begins with Magic Johnson coming to discover, oh yeah, he has an AIDS diagnosis. And quite frankly, okay, this is going to bookend with them covering the 80s and him basically getting his diagnosis. No, this only covers the 1979-1980 season. So how many more seasons are we going to cover and then cover the sequel book? So I would definitely recommend the series to cover a period of time in the 80s where it was, Boston and LA, and then periodically sprinkled in there was, Philadelphia. So, folks, winning time. Have you seen this? What did you think? Please put everything in the comment box below here, folks. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, and enrich yourself with knowledge. I'll see you next time, folks. Yes, hooray.